I'm Phil from 3DP UK Tech Channel. So today's video is on the Flashforge AD5X multicolor budget printer. Now, everyone knows that at the moment the community is being saturated with multicolor printers. But this particular printer, which we're going to go through in this video, for me, the fact that the price range for this multicolor printer and the way that it's been designed for me has really set it out to be a really cool, very cheap, very versatile budget multicolor Core XY printer. You'll see later on in the video the capabilities of this. Now, some of the specs for this particular printer, we're getting 600 MMS on speed, and we're also getting 20,000 MMS on the acceleration. Now, these figures are really good for this particular printer. Now, one thing to note, it isn't an enclosed printer, but you can, and they have files on the Flashforge website and on their wiki site that you can actually build your own enclosure, print your own enclosure. Now, there are perspex options if you wanted to choose to do that, and these things are cool projects to do, especially if you have an unenclosed Core XY printer that's multicolor. You want it to be a lot more versatile. But for the cost and the fact that at the moment, we're going to put up some figures on the screen in both pounds and dollars, just to make sure that my community, I do get a lot of comments in the comment section about that I'm British or from the UK, and I never put UK pounds up. I try to cater for the whole community. So up in each corner now, we're going to say that it's this amount of money in pounds and this amount of money in dollars. I don't want to go and start putting euros and things like that. There's so many, the screen will be completely covered. It's pointless. But anyway, budget multicolor printer from Flashforge. Flashforge have been around a while now, and they've now entered into the scene with this multicolor printer. As you'll see, very easy to put together. We're not going to show that in this particular video. I will, however, go through, as I'm looking over the printer in its full built state, the types of things that you're going to come across when you're unboxing this once you've purchased it. Now, I will leave a link in the description for you to be able to purchase this item today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I have recently hit 6,000 subscribers, so I'm really pleased to announce that. And that's thanks to you guys, the community. Now, one thing to note, we've also got a new sponsor to the channel. Anyone who has followed my channel knows that PCBWay sponsor all of my videos. So thanks again to PCBWay for sponsoring this particular video. But we now have a new filament sponsor. So yes, right now, my channel is now being sponsored by ChiTu Systems, and I've got a review coming up. Check that out, coming out soon on their new E1 filament dryer, the stackable unit. We're going to go into detail in my next review for that, so definitely keep an eye out for that video. Now, ChiTu Systems will be donating 2 filament rolls into a monthly draw, and it won't be on any particular video, so you're going to have to keep watching my videos. Yes, it's a bit of a push to watch my videos, but that's just the benefits of being able to have the opportunity to win 2 filament spools, 1 kilo each month. I'll leave a link in the description on how you're going to be able to do that. But in short, you just need to watch my video, and when you see the ChiTu Systems logo pop across the screen, drop the time in the comment section, and yes, most people will start copying those and not bother watching the video. That's all fine, but what you need to do is make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a time in the video. When you see that logo pop across the screen, it will just fly across, and drop that time in, and you will go into a spinning wheel, which I will announce on this channel each month, and that will then go to you. I'll reach out to you via email, and then we'll get your details, and ChiTu Systems will send you 2 kilos of filament of your choice sent straight in the mail. How difficult can that be? None at all. So once again, stay with me on this video. We're going to go straight into looking over this machine. We'll do some prints, and that is the Flashforge AD5X multicolor printer, which is a 220 square build volume, and it has a 4.3 touchscreen and an IFS unit for the multicolor. Now, it isn't a tool changer printer, so there is quite a bit of filament waste. So now that we've gone into the multicolor printer world, we're now looking at these multi-changer head changers, and now that's going to be great for saving money. And that's another video coming up soon, which is the Prusa XL 5-tool head. So keep an eye out for next month for that video. Stay with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to 3DP UK Tech channel. And I am Phil. Take care and watch the rest of this video.
Okay, so here we have the Flashforge AD5X featuring this 4.3-inch color touchscreen. We'll briefly run through the function. So you have the usual hot end and bed temperature settings, which you can change manually. Next, you have the pre-sized models that you can see on screen now. And this is all on the memory. And you can add in on the USB, which is found on the right-hand side of the screen. The next thing we have is the filament color selection screen, which operates this IFS unit on the right hand side. Each are clearly numbered to make it easy to use. These filament spools holders also have a clamping system to keep the spool in place. Also features a retracting mechanism where it pulls the filament tight to avoid entanglement. It's then fed in with these 4 Bowden tubes into the print head. And to update these colors on the screen is very simple. Literally choose the type of filament that you're using, whether it's PLA, PETG, and then you color match each filament numbered from 1 to 4. You do this for all 4 rolls. This printer has a maximum of 4 spools only. So once you've made changes to all 4 rolls, making sure that each of those are corresponding to the correct number on the IFS unit, you are then ready to go. You can also make some changes to how this works. So if you want to feed the filament and have the same color, if you run out of filament, it will select that. So next we have the movement screen where you can operate the X, Y, and Z. Then we also have the calibration screen where you can deselect modes if you don't want to carry out a full calibration. This full calibration takes about 12 minutes in total. The last function is the settings page where you can update the firmware for both the printer and the IFS unit. Once that's done, it will load up and say that it's the current firmware. With the firmware update, it is done over the air, so there's no need to connect up a USB for this. You can also change the nozzle size for this unit, so selecting which nozzle you currently got installed. You can also change the language of your country. There's also an error log screen, but requires a USB to be connected to download any information. And finally, we are back to the main screen, which has a notification of whether you've got Wi-Fi connected, etc. So let's take at the print head itself now and some of the surrounding features. So it is supplied with a standard 0.4 nozzle. You have the waste chute and wipe section at the back. Also has the linear rods, which is supplied by a single motor. You also have a compartment which I'm assuming is for some desiccant but didn't come supplied. You have the linear rods and the belts for the core XY motion. So another cool feature from this particular printer is the ability to remove the front head with some simple magnets and a contact point instead of wires and screws, which I really like this. And it also seems that the magnets are quite strong, so I wouldn't expect it to come off during printing. Now that the front cover is off, it has the cutter, it has the direct drive extruder, and also a filament runout sensor, and easy to access to remove the nozzle and change to a smaller size. I also see that the airflow would be suitable for most printing, but as this is an open printer and not enclosed, it wouldn't make too much of a difference to print anyway. And all you have to do to simply put the cover back on, which is obviously a lot easier when you're not holding a camera, has 2 little locating pins at the top and just drops in place, and then you feel the magnetic draw to it. So now that we have the front plate put back in place, we can also see that the Bowden tube is supplying the top of this print head, and this is supplied by the IFS multicolor unit, which is found to the right hand side by these Bowden tubes, and they are all clearly numbered for ease of use. So as you can see on screen, there is the app called the Flash Maker, and this is where you can monitor your printer. And if you have more than one, you can actually send multiple prints to different printers if you want to do a farm. You do need to connect up a USB camera to be able to do this. As you can also see on the screen, it has the dual-sided PEI flexible build plate with locating slots at the back of the actual heat bed, which I really like this feature. So when putting this together, it was a very simple task. You needed to remove 3 screws from the build plate, which are clearly marked with an arrow in all 3 corners, as I'm showing on screen now. Also, when connecting up your filament spool holders, they are clearly numbered on there and they just push fit onto the side. And the IFS unit needs to be connected with this simple cable to the IFS unit. And once again, this is really easy to connect, and the IFS unit just needs to be screwed in place along with the bracket. The screen itself will need to have the actual bracket removed, which it's connected to, and once you've done that, it simply pushes in place. Now a quick word from today's video sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay are a PCB board manufacturer. Not only do they do PCB boards, they do FPC rigid flex, CNC and 3D printing, and also SMD stencils. When checking out their website, if you have a project that you would love to carry out, it has a very easy step-by-step guide on how to carry out this process. And they will do all of your 3D printing or CNC cutting and SMD stencil projects, but mostly they're PCB board manufacturers. But check out the video on screen now on their advanced technologies to carry out. And that is PCBWay, today's video sponsor. Thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this channel.
So as you can see, we're getting a bit of a drag on the nozzle. If I just zoom in, you'll be able to hear it dragging. It's not too bad on the longer part, it's more on the infill. You can just hear it there. So what you want to do is on the screen, click on this information bar, and then you can make some changes to the Z. So we just want to raise it just a touch, like so. But actually we need to go down. It's actually the opposite way, remember that. So it does it in 0.010. There's still a bit of a drag on that. Let's just do a little bit more. And now we're listening for any more clicking and dragging. And what the dangers of having that drag is that you could actually knock the print, or the actual head of the printer head can knock off with that dragging. We're still getting a little bit of it, so I'm not entirely sure if we need to press the tick mark before it actually engages. It's probably likely. So now we've got the new figures. You want to try and do that in the first couple of layers, because the danger of it is that you will get like a split on the model. But this is only for the waste chute, so it's not really an important model in my print. So on here you have the type of filament that we're using, so it's PLA. The current millimeters a second speed, so it sort of fluctuates between all different parts of what it's printing. 100% speed, the Z height, which is adjustable, the current layer height and the total layer height, infill, and the fan speed. Like I say, you can make adjustments for that just by clicking on this. So if you want to turn, the only things you can't change is obviously the speed, the PLA, the layer height and that, but you can actually change the speed in terms of how fast you want it to print. So if you want to slow it down, which I want to do actually, because it's going to be an overnight print, I'm going to go down to a 60, and as you can see, it's now slowed down. That will probably help with the drag as well. On here you've got that we're using the IMS, or the CFS, whatever it's called for this particular model. Got all different names. So the filament feeder is here, Wi-Fi connected, currently with a USB connected to the right hand side, and then you've got temperature, etc. Over here you've got the models both internally on the hard drive and the USB. So these are some of the prints that you get with it for free. And then over here is my USB models. So we've got some really cool models that I'm going to show later on in the video here. Over here is your filament selection, so you can change the colors, what type of filament, etc. You can unload and load, and then you've got your settings, change in movement, etc. Your Wi-Fi, and then your information of the printer. Firmware updates, you can just click on that. Also, with this particular Flashforge AD5X, you can have a group of printers, so you can call it a different one. And on the app, you can actually group print. So if you've got a model and you want to, you've got say 5, 6, 10 of this, or if you've got a farm, you would use that, which I think is a really cool feature. We're going to go over some of the specs. We're also going to go over the very simple setup procedure of this machine, and that is what we're going to do for the rest of the video. Now, it's a budget printer. It's a really cool printer.
So I just wanted to take a few minutes to run through some of the specifications that are showing for this printer. So obviously it's an FDM Core XY multicolor printer. The print volume is a square 220 by 220 by 220 millimeters. The maximum nozzle temperature is 300 degrees, which is 572 Fahrenheit. Maximum bed temperature is 110, which is 230 Fahrenheit. And the printing speeds are suggested up to 600 mms, but the standard would be 300 mms to obtain the optimal quality. The extruder type is a direct drive. The nozzle diameter is a 0.4 standard, but can be swapped, and on-screen systems can actually change that as well. The filament diameter is the 1.75 millimeter, which is the standard, and the construction is a Core XY. The Z-axis configuration consists of a single motor with 3 linear rods. Bed leveling is an automatic print bed leveling and has auto calibration with the selection to remove or add as desired. The heating bed has a dual-sided PEI magnetic print bed, which is also flexible. The touchscreen is a 4.3 and it is color. The connectivity is both USB and WLAN, or LAN if anybody wants to call it that, and the multicolor unit is the IFS, which stands for Intelligent Filament System. Like I said before, it is a maximum of 4 colors for this particular unit. Also can print TPU 95A, which is compatible with via this, which is an awesome addition and one of my key features for this printer. Okay, so I'm going to showcase some models that I printed on this. So this fish was found on the actual drive itself and came out really well. This model is a Patreon that I'm with, and they do lots of amazing prints. So I'm going to leave a link in the description for these because I really think it's worth checking them out. And I have done a few prints now on other printers, which I'm going to be showcasing in the future. But as you can see from this particular model, the eye has bled through into other parts of that model on that line. Overall, throughout the rest of the model, it doesn't seem to be affected, which is quite surprising to me, really, because obviously white and black has a huge different color, but it seems to have affected just this particular part of the model. So I'm probably sure that it was something that I've done in the slicer software. Now, with these types of models and this type of printer, you are going to need to purge quite a lot to be able to get the color difference, especially with extreme color changes between white and black, or even yellow in this case. But overall, the model printed out really, really well. Now, with single head printer, multicolor printers, like I say, it relies heavily on purging. And as I can show you now, these two models are from the same Patreon, but from two totally different printers. This one was printed on the Prusa XL 5-head multi-tool printer. As you can see, there was no purge issues into the model, no bleeding issues, and obviously the waste on the multi-tool head was pretty much minimum. And that's the downfall of these types of multicolor printers. As you can see, this model was printed on the Prusa XL, and a future video will highlight and showcase this particular printer, which I really like. So back to the AD5X, as you can see from this model, it did have a lot of waste. With this benchy, which is your classic sort of pre-start print, I actually printed this towards the end because I just wanted to focus on other prints. But as you can see, the benchy came out really, really well. Very simple multi-color change. Now for a final recap.
So that brings us to the end of this Flashforge AD5X multicolor printer review. As you see, we didn't have an unboxing, which we normally have in this particular video. You would have seen some time lapses. You would have seen some prints that I did throughout this video. Now, this particular printer is a budget printer, and for me, it has blown me away with the quality of it. Yes, I will need to go into my slicer and make some purge changes and maybe have some purge towers and make it slightly bigger. There's lots of slicer issues that I would have seen with some of my models. You would have seen on one of my particular Pokemon models, there was a lot of bleeding in from the eye into the actual model itself. This is solely down to the slicer. I'm not that skilled in terms of making sure that I get all my purge amounts right. This is all skill and practice, and it also depends on the color. So as you would have seen, it's gone straight from yellow and white into black. Now these are very extreme color differences. If you was to go from yellow to white, it probably wouldn't be so noticeable. So when you're doing that color change, especially from white to black, which is two ends of the color spectrum, you're gonna need to make sure your purge is fine. The problem is with that, it then leads into more filament waste. And this is a key problem with multicolor printing. Now the community has seen a big influx of multicolor printers. We're now looking at how can we get rid of the waste? What can I do with the waste? There are lots of options. There's options that you could purge into a separate model and not into a bleed tower. And you could use that model for something. It could be a fidget cube. It could be something you could give away, a model that doesn't matter about the different colors that are going to likely be in it because it's going to be used as a purge tower. And you could spray it and paint the model. So there's lots of options out there. And I'm sure out in the community, there's a lot more skilled and a lot more information on how you can better that. But this is where we're now looking at multi-tool head printers and Snapmaker and Prusa and lots of other brands that are coming through now have shown that, and they're leading the way with these multicolor tool heads. That way you literally don't have that much waste. For me, that would be the next step. But for a printer of the cost that I've shown earlier on in this video, what can you expect? I mean, it's below £500, $500, whatever you want to call it. It is below that amount. It is amazing what Flashforge have brought us and how it opens up the community to people that can't afford these plus $1,000 £1,000 printers. It means that it opens it up to everyone to enjoy what we like as a passion. So that is the Flashforge AD5X multicolor printer. Once again, thank you to the channel sponsor, which is PCBWay.com. Link in the description. Check them out. All your PCB boards, CNC, 3D printing services, they can deal with it. If you've got a little project you want done and you don't have access to some of these that some of us have, like 3D printers and CNC machines, etc., they're there for you. Check them out. Link in the description. Once again, check out the video coming up soon from our new Filament brand that's now sponsoring the channel. Link in the description, and I'll go into all that later on in other videos. Stay with us, for future videos. And that's Phil from 3DP UK Tech Channel. Like and subscribe. Take care, everyone.